Welcome to Ancient Air Theater. I'm host and commentator Blake Naftel, also filmmaker, meteorologist, and the creator of this channel. Thanks for stopping by and taking some time to check out some ancient air, if you will. I thought I'd change it up and do something a bit different since I haven't really updated this channel in years, and provide some film commentary on some random Super 8mm silent film taken on May 28th, 1980, in the Tulia, Texas and Wellington, Texas region of the Panhandle by Dr. Erik Rasmussen and his chase partner at the day, who were up from Texas Tech University in Lubbock, not too far from this location. But these films, which were already provided on another clip here on 16mm, these are the Super 8mm films that complement the 16mm films that are also on this channel, of the Wellington and Tulia, Texas corridor tornadoes from May 28th, 1980. These were taken by Texas Tech students. Dr. Erik Rasmussen, he wasn't a doctor yet, but he was, doing his thing, and his chase partner at the time. And he was focused on getting high-quality, tripoded 16mm film of the tornadoes. His chase partner would take wide-angle shots on Super 8mm handheld, which you will be seeing here, and I thought I'd just offer up some commentary. So let's cut to film, literally. Enjoy. Okay, these are Super 8mm films taken by the chase partner of Dr. Erik Rasmussen on May 28th, 1980. And this was the Tulia, Texas corridor outbreak, as it was known to storm chasers and meteorologists of the day. Now, I wasn't around then, so I have no direct on-the-ground experience with these, but I inherited these films in 2015 from Dr. Erik Rasmussen in Norman, Oklahoma, when I was working on a storm chasing documentary project called the Storm Chasing Anthology. I didn't use all of the clips, and ultimately they became stored in a box and moved around the country with me as I went from project to job to project to job. And then eventually, in 2023, scanned the films at the Chicago Film Archives, and then permanently archived them at Texas Tech University and the Southwest Collections Library there in Lubbock, Texas. So they're permanently archived, both these and many other films, both from Dr. Rasmussen, others, and my own archives, in Lubbock, Texas, per this recording in October 2025. So let's get right to the film here. There's a nice beaver's tail before beaver's tail was known as beaver's tail. And yowzers, storms on film. It's a different type of quality. There is a very large wall cloud with, well, to me that looks like there's contact on the ground, and that's probably a tornado at this time. This was one of the larger ones of the day, near Tulia, predominantly out in open country. Classic Texas Panhandle supercell and tornado structure. I believe this is, I can't really comment on the direction they're looking at right now because obviously I wasn't there and I don't have notes in front of me. I'm just watching the film as you are. Videotape and portable video recorders were not widely available. They were around, but they were very expensive and cumbersome. And most people back in the day, storm chasers, meteorologists, and so forth, were still shooting Super 8mm film. That was a common format, and 16mm. It was also the preferred format because it looked better. It was still higher quality than VHS or 3/4 inch videotape of the day. Not to forget beta. But wow, that's transitioning into a very large tornado with the main funnel off to the center right, but pretty much that is one large vortex. This film was used in the public awareness film and video Terrible Tuesday, along with some other national broadcasts here and there between 1981 and through the late 80s. They showed up later in the Tornado Video Classic series that had been produced by Tom and Doris Grzoulis, starting in about 1992 through the mid-90s. But this is the first time this specific film has ever been released online. And there's nothing too much to write home about it. It's a tornado. It's getting rain-wrapped right now with the hail and precip core, so still a very large tornado back there. I didn't interview Dr. Erik Rasmussen directly about this. In fact, I never interviewed him on camera at all. We just discussed these things in his house in Norman, Oklahoma. He gave me the films, and he left the rest of history with me until they wound up back in Lubbock. Between Texas Tech University and the University of Oklahoma and other academic institutions, these were days when most chasers were trying to get stable, high-quality tornado movies, and this was through the 70s into the early 80s, of debris movies to do photogrammetric studies of debris tracers. And essentially that's, if you see a barn or a structure get destroyed and you can calculate the wind speed and velocity through the motion of debris rudimentarily, you can estimate tornado wind speeds that way, at least on the original F scale. Clearly, that was a night shot. Now we're back into another part of the chase. So Erik is driving, and I believe it was his girlfriend who was shooting these movies out the passenger side at the time. Classic Texas tornado right there. And I'll let the film breathe here because really there's no audio. Unless they were recording on tape cassette, which was a good likelihood because I did have a few of those, but I did not have the specific ones from this chase day. This is actually passing near a correctional institution. I'm not specifically sure if this is Tulia or if it is later, but we will say this is in or near the Tulia, Texas area. Great wall cloud there. Now, Erik had run across the road on the other side into the field and tripoded the Canon Scoop 16 millimeter camera, and he was shooting tripoded shots of this, and that's available on another video. These are the wide-angle shots on Super 8 of the mesocyclone and wall cloud and attendant tornado up the road. Great contrast there. So the close-up shots on 16 millimeter were being achieved right around this time. So they were working as a team. She was getting the wide-angle footage of the mesocyclone, and he was getting the close-ups. And eventually they paired all the information into a research paper and turned it in. There were other chasers and meteorologists out that day from Norman, University of Oklahoma, but not too many others, as you can see. This was chasing in the early 1980s. It basically was a different world entirely. A bygone era, if you will. Nice CG. Clouded ground lightning bolt there out of the meso. And this is kind of why storm chasing dropped off at the nightfall, because really, once you lost light, the film wasn't going to turn out too well. But still, this is showing, there's some RFD dust there. I don't know if we just jumped back in time here with the same clip, a different clip, or if it was just underexposed there. This is where it helps to have the original cinematographers in the room. There is some traffic and chaser convergence, mostly traffic though. Now, the reason why that went from day to night probably was because the reel may have been reversed when this was spliced together. I don't know, because I didn't splice the film. This is how it came off on the reel when it was scanned. But the chase continues. But as you can see, once the light goes, so does your viewpoint. And this is back in the day when there was no radar in the car. There was no radio in terms of constant weather updates. You had AM and FM radio if you were lucky. NOAA weather radio was around, but the repeater space wasn't widely available. And so you were always going on your instincts. You would make a forecast and you would go. And you can still accomplish viewing and observing severe weather and tornadoes in this day and age that way, but certainly this was a successful day and a successful forecast for these folks. And on to the next reel. This was at Wellington, Texas, the same day, May 28th, 1980. And this was part of the same tornado event, the Tulia and Wellington, Texas corridor outbreaks. This one did go on to cause some damage, as you will see here. There was also 16mm tripoded film of this as well, which was for the purposes of photogrammetry. And again, this is the handheld Super 8. There's the tornado. Multi-vortex action there, which is quite common. Was once thought to be a rarity, but it's exhibited quite often and documented more often than not in this day and age. There is the Wellington, Texas tornado, clearly going through a populated section with some debris being lofted there, and a fast-moving vortex. And the tornado expanded and got quite a bit larger as it exited the town. The large vortex continues, and here is the rope out stage. The tornado is square in the center of the frame right there. And that's the end of the film. Thanks for watching.